If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Real strong man and self-control, the info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain.
Semen retention soldiers, salute to you. I'm not even in the frame. I'm like out the frame. Salute to you, my brothers. We're here for our Wednesday, our live training. As always, Captain Jake is with us. Actually, Captain Jake, you weren't with us last week. You were bettering yourself.
Yeah. Well, it looked good. The sessions are always good, man.
Yeah, man. So this week, fellas, first of all, thanks for the guys who are here with us live. Thanks for leaving some comments, hit the like button, share it out on your whatever ways you can share it out. Help us spread this mission and message. Let's talk a little bit about your energy, because that's what we do inside the Army, is we are mastering our energy. We're mastering our body and our minds. And that's the key to success. That's the key to connecting with God. And it's the key to an abundant life. A lot of guys are struggling, especially more spiritual guys. They tend to struggle with things like money or sex or these sort of material things that they have to interact with all the time. But, trying to keep a spiritual consciousness can be difficult. But here in this process, we integrate the two. So we take a fearless approach to every aspect of life, sex, money, God himself. We approach God fearlessly as well, meaning very open, very honest, and trusting in the process. As part of getting to know God, as part of getting to know yourself, to realize yourself in deeper and deeper ways, you have to master your physical and subtle energy, the body and mind. And these energies, when mastered, you naturally become more realized as consciousness, because you recognize that the way to master these things is to be aware of them. And so you start to get to know yourself as awareness itself as you continuously practice. We got 3 energy centers according to the Taoist tradition. Now, they know and recognize there's more, but they work with 3 major energy centers. In the yogic system, there's the 7 major chakras. In the microcosmic orbit meditation that we teach inside the Army, we circulate around different points in the body, 21 different points. You could travel 7 points up the back channel, 7 points down the front channel, and your 7 major chakras to do a 21-point meditation. So different ways that you can look at this. Today, we're going to work with a basic microcosmic orbit opening. The microcosmic orbit is the main channel running up the body. The microcosmic orbit simply goes up the back, around the crown of the head, down to the front, to the lower dantian. It is this channel that needs to be open for your energy or your semen once you're retaining for. The process starts at about 7 to 14 days, where your physical process begins. Your testosterone gets stimulated. A lot of guys feel that drive and energy, so they feel that drive for more sexual activity. Some guys feel the drive for more creative activity, and some guys feel the drive for more spiritual activity. And it just depends where your energy is, where your consciousness sits. And so, but either way, the physical aspects or benefits begin to happen between 7 and 10 days, 7 to 14 days. As you go beyond 30 days, according to Ayurveda, 30 days and 4 hours specifically. I cannot verify, but that's according to some of the Ayurveda material that
Imagine if you got to 3 hours and then you just release semen. Oh, man.
It's over. Yeah, so according to Ayurveda, it takes 30 days and 4 hours, and I'm sure your own health and lifestyle and all that will play into that. It will take that amount of time for what you eat today to become your semen. So what you eat is what you become. As you consume food, especially like, you know, like your food, it's important that you're consciously eating, and you're eating with a purpose. You're not eating for taste, but you're eating for energy cultivation, because the more that you cultivate lots of energy, the more vibration you carry, the higher frequency you emanate, and this helps you create in this world. When so as you go beyond 30 days and you go 60 days and you go 90 days of semen retention, you're going to have so much energy that this energy is going to then go from raw semen, and think of water that's being boiled and turned into a gas, and that gas begins to flow upwards. Similarly, your body is going to go through a cooking process where it's got such an excess of semen that it's going, well, what am I going to do with this? I'm going to return it back to its original energetic form. And what's true for the physical is always true for the energetic in quality, meaning whatever is physically in quality. For instance, you'll notice that guys who are generally physically strong generally have very strong minds as well. The athletes have very strong mind. Why? Because their body and their mind are one. And that's the thing you got to understand in this process, is that your body and your mind are one. So the quality of strength of mind can be attained by the quality and strength of body, and vice versa. If you work on the strength of mind, eventually you'll work on the strength of body. That was my path. I worked really at the mental level a lot, and then learning bhakti, learning to work at that emotional level and the level of feeling and the level of the heart.
I don't know if they say it over there, but one of the slang words nowadays, they say, I'm feeling gassed, you know. People say, I'm so gassed right now. It means I'm feeling high on energy, you know. That's what they're saying a lot nowadays. So literally, when
Gas, okay, cool.
your semen becomes gas, you have more energy. But this is what people say now. I'm so gassed right now. I'm gassed up.
I love that. I'm gassed up. And that's what we do. We learn to gas up, I guess, because that's literally what's happening. So as the raw semen gets transformed, the body, the nature, see, God is so perfect that he designed everything efficiently. Nothing goes to waste in his creation. That's called the law of use. That's how I learned it anyways. The law of use, which means if it's part of your awareness, if it's part of your world, how are you using it to serve God? How are you using it to better the world? How are you using everything that you have? That includes your body, your mind, your money, your time, all of these aspects of life and these dimensions of life that we as human beings get to interact with and get to have some influence over. It's a privilege. A responsibility is a gift. So as human beings, the more responsible life you live, you do the things that you know need to get done for your health, for your spiritual health, for your family, for your community. You take on more responsibility. You become more self-mastered. That's another path. It's just the path of responsibility. Semen retention is the path of being responsible with your sexual energy. It's not like a brahmachari who's living in a monk's life, but it's for men who are living in kind of the modern world and age, but still want to grow in consciousness. So they're not living in temples. We didn't design this for temple dwellers, even though we do have some temple dwellers with us.
Yeah, and it helps them too. But I feel like this was really needed, because I was someone like that, feeling a bit in between, and really needed something like this, a spiritual seeker who was unfortunately denying this energy, because it's like I didn't know what to do with it, just trying to overcome it by denying it, which wasn't really working. So this notion of embracing it and integrating it and using it is very, very powerful. So that's why I'm trying to spread it to other guys in my position who are also spiritual seekers, but just want to tackle this issue, man, of sex, the sex, the desire
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, I love it, man. That's, that was exactly where I was at, right? Spiritual seeker, wanting to grow in consciousness, but at the same time recognizing I'm also in a place in my life where I've got a beautiful wife. I enjoy spending time with her. And we have an intimate physical relationship. And actually, I find it very healthy for our relationship. It's a great expression. We're not all over the place, and with our energy, but we have a healthy expression there. And I think that's important and something we've worked on consciously, and how it transforms your energy and your heart, and how it helps you even connect to God it's like, in a way it's mystical, because it's like it's the most unlikely way to think you would connect to God, which is through sex. It's through understanding sex and sex energy, and then how it is the same energy, just of love, or the Christians called it agape, right? Selfless love. The Vedic culture called it bhakti, right? Selfless service, selfless love. It's the same word describing the same mood or same spirit where you live solely for the service of God. I do that through my family. So a temple dweller, as I call them, right?
Those dwellers.
People living in churches or temples or synagogues or mosques, whatever expression that they're living in to worship God. There's like that monk or brahmachari or priesthood path. Most guys, 99.9% of guys in this age that we live in, and the type of world we live in, and the type of atmosphere we live in, will not find themselves successful in that life because they haven't been trained up from a young enough age. So this practice is really for the modern spiritual seeker who is going to be balancing a lot of material life with spiritual consciousness, and needs to rectify that, needs to unify that, needs to make it not a conflict, but part of the process. And so the way that we do it is we move energy from the lower center. So the lower centers is our sexual center, our creative centers. This is where your energy is stored up. In semen retention, we store up your energy here, and we want to go 30, 60, and 90 days at a time so that we store up tons of abundance here. Then, and I recommend everybody at least go 90 days at least once, because you're going to fall in love with the energy and the self power and the improvement that happens because at 90 days, there's a shift in your mind that says, man, I can do anything. If I can master this, I can master those other vices. I can master myself in my prayer. I can master myself in my business, my service, my health, my relationships. I can see beyond the material and recognize I can create mind over matter. As long as I control the destination of my mind, my body, my senses will follow. All of that is realized, I find, after the 90-day mark. There's so much self-actualization that happens here. So that's why we're introducing, actually in June, we're going to be introducing a 90-day semen retention boot camp. So make sure you guys are subscribed and all that stuff, and you can keep up. And we'll open up a 90-day program to help guys achieve 90 days of semen retention. Then what happens is that energy is stored up, and then you gain an excess amount of semen within the body. That semen then becomes cooked, and then it begins to travel upwards in the body. And this is where you can meet, and you want to glue your lusty energy with your heart energy. And your heart energy, you'll notice if you bring your awareness, like if you go right now and you put your awareness into your sexual organs, and then bring that awareness slowly up through the body into the heart space, you may notice a difference in where you're feeling your energy and even in the way you feel in your body. Like for me, when I do that, if I put my awareness into my sexual organs, I'm going to start thinking about sex. I'm going to start stimulating sexual thoughts because that's where my awareness is. So my awareness is where my energy goes, where your mind is. So whatever you want to see grow in your life, you have to simply put your mind into it.
So if you think of your penis, it grows.
100%. Yeah. Because you're putting energy into it. So it's growing, it's growing, right? Blood is starting to flow there. Life is going there. This is true for anything you think about. And it's why in your own practice, you want to learn to think about the things you want and stop thinking about the things you don't want. Too many guys are constantly thinking about what they don't want. I don't want to ejaculate. I don't want to sin. I don't want to make mistakes. I don't want to be perceived as a bad devotee. I all this shit is all about I don't want, which translates into I'm scared. That's all I'm hearing. Right? I'm scared of what other people think. I'm scared. Instead of doing what I know I need to do to grow and to improve and to trust my wisdom and my inner guidance, I'm always seeking the outside world. Now, it's okay to get your outside mentorship from your guru, from your very specific people, but make sure they have the result that you want. If they don't have the result that you want, there's no point in asking them. Stop going to your broke uncle and asking him how to make money.
Yeah.
Right? Stop going to, the pretenders and start going to people putting in the work. So as the semen flows upwards and you draw it up into the heart, you change that energy. You alchemize it from lust to more love. Because in the heart space, when your energy's here, and Jesus Christ talked lots about the heart space, and so does the Vedas. There's this opening and this desire to connect. Now, the magnetic field of the heart has been measured up to I've read 50 feet away. So someone whose heart is wide open can be felt, and it's through your heart where people really feel you and can communicate, and you transcend words. You can really feel when somebody's speaking from the heart. Well, when you're loving from the heart, when you're living from the heart, and so whether you're making love or you're praying, you're doing it from such a space of love and service that the very act itself becomes at bare minimum sattvic, or in the mode of goodness, if not transcendental. And this is where, again, guys experience energy orgasms and all this stuff. That's all I got into these practices to better learn to control my sexual energy so I could be a better man for God. That was my motivation. And then I discovered that, it does enhance your material life as well. So it makes sense that someone who is more God conscious also should be more abundant in all ways.
Yeah, and your energy just feels so good as well. Like by doing these practices, that abundance, that you feel lighter, you can focus easier on your spiritual life because you're actually not so distracted or in fear of those desires. You address them and you use them, and you just feel, and it just feels so blissful actually. And like it's almost like the side benefit is that you lose those fears, or you don't want to ejaculate and stuff. You don't even have to. You basically get a higher taste, so those lower tastes go, and you're just living in a much more blissful state that's more congruent to, I think, your spiritual life and connecting with God.
Yeah, man, I love it. And that's it's what the practices do, because you're drawing your raw lustful energy up and transforming it back into pure energy. And again, according to Ayurveda, then it becomes ojas, and ojas means aura. So you start to emanate a massive aura. You have tons of energy. And again, that energy can be felt. So naturally, the supportive energy, which is matter, the feminine, naturally begins to support that. That's why guys in these practices make more money, start getting their careers going. Now, you still have to focus your mind. If you've got all this fear and you've got all these belief systems that are working against you, then you're just going to, sexual energy is just going to enhance those belief systems as well, because sexual energy in itself is not conscious. It's an energy that can be used, but you, the consciousness that has some power within yourself, that's where your power lives, is within you, then you can control it. You can't control someone else's sexual energy. You can control yours, but the more you control your own energies, you'll notice that the material energies are there to support you. So, if you're in a relationship, your wife supports you. If you're needing money making opportunities start to show up. But again, you have to desire that. You have to be conscious about it. Nothing is happening by accident. If there's a part of your life that you don't like, it's because you created it unconsciously. Because if you created it consciously, you would have never created it in a way that you don't like it. So do you have all power over life? Absolutely not. That's God. And that's why the service and worship of God is so important. So you link with God you commune with God. You're in yoga, union with God throughout your day. And the best and easiest way to do that is to remember him always. And when you're drawing up your sexual energy, naturally, you're going to be like, well, where am I going to put this energy? And this is where you could take it right up to the third energy center, which is the brain. And the brain is what opens up the crown. And the brain is what opens up the pineal, which then makes your mind more open, strong, and you become more conscious of your mind, which means, remember, mind over matter. When your energy's up here, you're more tuned into what Napoleon Hill called infinite thought or infinite intelligence. In the Bible, it's referred to as the book of life, or in Sanskrit, it's called the Akash. Akash means ether. So within the material atmosphere, it's still material, but it's subtle material. You can tap in to those inspired thoughts. And this is where people say, I can hear God. Yeah, because those thoughts will be intuitive thoughts, and they will lead you to your path. It will lead you to the right mentors. It will, wherever you're focused on, it will lead you there. So again, you got to make sure that you've got your mind so sharp and so under control. And if your sexual energy is everywhere, then there's no way that you're doing that. There's just no way that you're even tapping into a percentage of your potential and your ability here on the planet. Make sense?
Yeah, man, I was just feeling that tingling in that pineal gland, as I move the energy up. It really, as you do it more and more, it becomes more tangible and more blissful, and you can just move energy to different parts. Been doing it every morning, and yeah, these and above the crown as well. It feels like tuning in to like guidance and realizations, from the divine. You can actually feel the energy there,
Absolutely,
So,
bro. In fact, why don't we do a little exercise? So I kind of beat that, I think, to a pulp. Basically, 3 energy centers that you can work with at a basic level. The sexual alchemist, what we train guys to do inside the army is semen retention practitioners. Again, we're not brahmacharis, so I don't want to say, this
temple
is
dwellers.
Or temple dwellers. We're not temple dwellers. We're modern men. I've got businesses. I do business coaching. I'm involved politically. I'm involved with my community. I've got, like I said, a social life. Everything that a modern guy is balancing and doing, I'm doing. But I'm not sacrificing any of it. I'm connecting God to all of it. And I'm doing that by strong sadhana, strong practice, which for me includes mantra meditation and sexual alchemy. These 2 things have transformed my life. Mantra meditation helps me inspire bhakti, devotion, because mantra meditation comes from the heart space, right? It's not really a mental activity. It should be coming from the heart, in my experience. When I want to be with my wife, and I want to be with my wife, and I'm not going to say I'm not, and I'm transcending that. I have not. I want to be with my wife in intimate ways. I put my energy into my lower centers. But when I'm not with my wife, I put my energies into my higher centers. So therefore, I have a different dynamic that when I'm working, I'm not thinking about, watching porn and all that shit. You got to learn.
The more you resist, the more it persists. So unfortunately, when you are just repressing it, it just comes up at times. You really don't want it to, and you be thinking weird, perverted stuff when you're really trying to focus on other stuff.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That means your energy is located there. So as soon as you recognize your thoughts, you say, man, I'm really into that. Why am I thinking so much about sex or porn right now? Now is not the time. Right? I'm going to take that energy and I'm going to draw my awareness, and you can use your hands just simply to help bring your awareness, your inner awareness is what you're working with, into the heart. And then notice, like right away, if you do that, like if I have an erection and I draw that and my awareness up into my heart, and because I chant from my heart as best as I can, I naturally start thinking of God. If I put my awareness in my heart, I naturally associate my heart with the entrance to the kingdom of God. How do I reach God in my life? I have to open my heart, and means I have to become more vulnerable. I have to clean my heart up, purify my heart. And so put that there. The purer the heart, then even when sex is expressed, it's expressed in a lot different energy than, let's say, porn. There's no love there. That's why that sex is detrimental. But sex with a loving partner, there's studies to show that there's benefits to that, actually. But it's the spirit it's done in. It's all about the spirit in which you're doing it in. And then there's the brahmacharya. Then there's the transitioning or
transcending.
Thank you. Transcending sex. And that could be done later on in life, 80 years old, this type of thing. But at bare minimum, you can experience it in a different way.
And the energy feels so much more blissful up here when you just move it. It's like down there, it's just not even, you don't need it.
Frustration.
It's like up.
Can't satisfy.
Yeah. So up here, it's so blissful that you just want to keep it up here.
And now, take that energy and move it up into the brain. And now, open yourself up to listening, not with the ears, but the internal spirit. Listen without senses. And this is where all of your genius will arise in there. That's why, like, Albert Einstein, he came up with E equals MC squared. You know what's really interesting?
No.
The brain. I'm like, do you know what's really interesting? The brain is 2 pounds. 2 pounds of you, when you step on the scale, is your brain. It takes up, for most people, 20% of the body's energy in a day. If you are worrying, just constantly obsessing, all that stuff, you might be using more than 20%, and you're definitely sleeping more, and you're definitely eating more than actually the body's required, because you're burning so much energy up in excessive thinking instead of conscious thinking, where you are moving the energy, your sexual energy is creative energy. Move it to the heart. Feel God's presence. Feel that energy transform to lust, to love, from sex to now connection. And then move it up to the heart, to the brain, and listen for your desired thoughts to come into direction, intuition. So if your desire is to serve God, you'll hear things. Go do this, go call that person, start this, start that, move, make sure you develop this habit, that habit. When you move your creative and sexual energy to the brain, your brain, you can feel it. If you're practiced enough, you can feel the tingling and the vibration will increase. So your thoughts have more magnetic power, more fuel for action, and the vibration in the ether is felt from you in a much greater way. So your simple practice, you feel the urges in the lower center, you move it up to the heart. Now's not the time. You need inspiration, move to the brain, stimulate your brain, listen, internally listen. That's again where mantra meditation and even our practices within the army, which we do teach mantra and prayer in there as well. We will, you learn to internally listen. Your body becomes your teacher. And then if you're like me or Jake, who are living in the world as regular dudes,
World dwellers.
World dwellers, we're not temple dwellers, we're world dwellers. Then when we're with our partner, then we can move our energy here. But even when you're with your partner, if you want to have non-ejaculatory orgasms and retain while still having a sex life, then during sex, you'll learn to move it to the heart. Changes the dynamic of sex completely. You have sex from consciousness in the heart. And first of all, your woman will experience sex like she's never had before. Because men, we desire sex where women desire more connection. So give them connection and guess what you get. But again, you want to be responsible with this energy. You want to do this in a way that's enhancing your life, enhancing your relationship. But most watching porn and masturbating and doing all that kind of crap, that's just depleting your energy. Making love and connection, that's going to enhance your relationship and your ability to actually connect. What's really interesting is when you have deep connected sex, you actually even desire less sex because what you really fall in love with is the connection. Mm-hmm. And then you have more energy to then put into the brain, which then stimulates your genius, your passion, your purpose, your creativity, your business acumen, your ability to provide and protect, and your ability to know and serve God. But it has to travel up this way. It has to make that journey. All right, fellas, you got to get going, bro. You got
Yeah.
All right. Jake's got to go better himself. I love all the comments coming in. Klaus says, I'm not wasting my seed anymore, and I feel awesome. Thanks for what you're doing. Soldier, that's fantastic. Krishna Belladeo, as always, he's already in the army. And guys, remember, in June, we're going to be launching our 90-day Semen Retention Army Boot Camp. So get yourself together and ready for that. If you're interested in being part of that boot camp, 90 days of practicing, of motivation, of retention, of transforming your life, and you want to be part of that boot camp, make sure you either connect with myself and Jake. Let us know, because what we're going to do is we're going to start pre-registering guys from now for that boot camp that's going to start in June. And anybody who registers now is going to pay way less than those who register closer to the date. All right. So we're going to bring out details there. Go to the free ejaculation control guide and sign up. You could start with that as a practice, and then you'll be on our emailing list so that you can get in, tune. And obviously we'll keep talking about it here.
Yeah. And I just know there's a lot of guys out there like me and like you who are on a spiritual path, but really just need to tackle this issue. And I just, urge them to not be shy about it. And contact us, because it's really, really powerful. And it can really help your spiritual life.
Absolutely. All right, fellas. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another live practice. May God bless you in all ways in your life. Keep God in your heart. Keep God at the forefront. and the semen retention path will become that much more powerful for you. All right. We'll see you next week. Soldiers, retain.
Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-controlled, their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-controlled, their info is